Few people have a determination to achieve something that would make them willing to sacrifice everything. The Australian racing driver Niki Lauda was a once-in-a-lifetime character in the world of Formula One, as he won 3 championships, leaving his mark on the sport forever. Born into a rich family, he went against his family traditions and wanted to become a Formula One driver. He started his racing career in 1969 in Formula Vee, eventually making his way into Formula One in the year 1973. He started with smaller companies, and just after a year, he became undeniable and was signed by the Scuderia Ferrari team and started making a name for himself. In this video, we are going to look at some of the best moments in the career of Niki Lauda. Niki Lauda finally made his way to Formula One in 1973 under a contract with the British Racing Motors. It was an excellent opportunity for him to show the world what he was capable of, and that was exactly what he did. At the start of the race, he was in the top spots, going head-to-head with the big companies. His BRM was not competitive enough to allow him to fight with big companies. However, he capitalised on the opportunity and showed the world that he was there to give a tough time to everyone in the sport. Although he had to retire due to gearbox failure, he showed his skills remarkably well and captured everyone's attention. His performance was good enough to get him a call to race for Team Ferrari, where his career finally took off. The dominant performances of Niki Lauda began when he joined Team Ferrari in 1974. Team Ferrari was not having the best of seasons for the past 2 years at the time. Their struggle finally ended with Niki Lauda showing his class as he went on to win his career's first ever victory in Formula One. The circuit in Spain was in no way easy, and the slippery conditions made it even more difficult, one which he said was the hardest of all. That was the time for Niki Lauda to show he belonged at the top. He did exactly that and showed his class on the difficult and slippery tracks in Spain. He made his way to the top and broke the streak of average performances for Ferrari, which had been struggling to win a race in Formula One for the past 2 seasons. From then on, he went on to win 14 wins over the next 3 seasons with Ferrari. The decision of Ferrari to sign Niki Lauda proved amazingly well for the team. In the year 1975, the dominance of Ferrari led by Niki Lauda began. It was the year Niki Lauda won his career first Formula One championship, and he called it the dream year of his life. Ferrari had not been in the best of forms in the previous decade, and Niki Lauda helped the company's remarkable comeback. He helped the team's engineers with the 312 T-Car's performance, and the car became unbeatable until 1981. He won 5 out of the 14 races that year and left the runner-up behind by a big margin. In his hometown, Niki Lauda won for the very first time in 1984. Despite not having an ideal start to the game, Niki Lauda did not give up hopes to win the race. He gave one of his best performances and fought hard to get into the top spots. Luckily for him, the driver in the P1 had an unfortunate event and had to retire, leaving the top spot open for him to take the lead. He was looking well in place to win in his hometown. During the last stages of the race, his gearbox broke and it looked as if he was going to retire. But that was not how the race ended. He figured out that he could still drive his car in 3rd and 5th gear, so he kept up his pace and eventually won the Grand Prix in Australia. He scored 9 crucial points, won the race in his hometown, showed his character, and put himself ahead in the bid to win the World Championship that year. At the final race in 1984 in Portugal, Niki Lauda again proved why he was the best in the game. He was determined to win the championship and needed to end up in the 2nd position to win it. His qualifying race did not go well, and he started in the P11 in the race. His teammate, Alain Prost, started the race in P2. Niki Lauda showed his class yet again and made his way into the top 3. The driver in P2 had an unlucky event, which gave him the opportunity he was looking for to make it into the top 2. His teammate ended up winning the race very narrowly, but Niki Lauda had done enough in the race to win his career's 3rd championship. That win is still the smallest margin win in the history of the sport. This performance showed his character, determination and never-die attitude which have made him a legend of the game. Niki Lauda was looking very good in the year 1976 up until he experienced a near-fatal accident. It was during the 10th race of the season in the German Grand Prix that this terrible accident happened. Before the race, Niki Lauda raised his voice against the danger the drivers would have to go through on the track, which was ill-suited for the F1 cars. However, his concerns were not heeded by other drivers, and he had no choice but to participate in the race. Looking back at the incident, he said, "Some of them wanted to seem brave. Others were simply too stupid to know what they were doing. I steeled myself to drive, although my brain kept telling me it was sheer stupidity." His concerns about the game proved right, as he ended up hitting a barrier at more than 170 miles per hour. His car burst into flames, and he was nearly a minute into a hot ball of fire before he was rescued and sent to the hospital. Just 39 days after the incident, Niki Lauda was back in his car, determined as ever to win the championship. He was still hurt from the crash, in which he burnt his face and injured his lungs. He tried his best to catch up on the lead, but that unfortunately did not happen. He was not able to win the championship because of just 1 point, but he showed his unbreakable character, which had been an inspiration for many people. He was not only a brilliant driver, but he was also a vocal advocate for the safety of drivers. He showed what a man can do with self-determination and tunnel vision, a lesson that can help anyone to succeed in life. That's it for today. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.